A publicity stunt gone wrong gets Israel's ambassador kicked out of the UN. Biden and Bibi finally meet, but is there still trouble in paradise? And our top story picks up where we left off last week as we try to figure out what really happened at UPenn's intensely controversial Palestinian Literature Festival. We're covering all that and more on Today Unpacked, your weekly deep dive into Jewish and Israeli current events. Let's get into it. It's the will they, won't they love story that everyone is talking about. And like everyone else, I'm really hoping they work things out. I'm of course referring to Israeli Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu and President Joe Biden. Bibi has been trying to meet with Biden at the White House for months, but the Biden administration has not made it easy. Playing hard to get? I like that in an administration. Well, Biden kind of relented, and the two finally met last Wednesday on the sidelines of the World Summit at a hotel in Manhattan. It was the meeting Netanyahu had wanted, just not where he wanted it. Despite attempts since last December to meet with his old friend, President Biden was allegedly pushing it off due to his concerns about Netanyahu's commitment to democratic checks and balances, and was reluctant to give him a high-profile Oval Office meeting. This comes as a result of Netanyahu's plan to overhaul the judicial system, something we've discussed at length on this show. Go check out those episodes in the link below. Despite Biden's critiques of Netanyahu's vision for Israel, Netanyahu assured Joe that Israel remains committed to upholding democracy in the Middle East and that it remains allies to the US. And while nothing monumental was decided, it looks like Netanyahu is getting his fairy tale ending, because by the end of the meeting, Biden finally invited Netanyahu to visit Washington by year's end. I'm really happy for these two. That being said, both leaders are incredibly divisive in their respective countries and certainly don't reflect the opinions of everyone they represent. So this is more of a diplomatic meeting of figureheads than a true uniting of two nations. Although tensions between Israel and the US really only started because of these administrations, so I guess it just cancels itself out. What do you think? Is the relationship between Israel and the US really as solid as the two leaders want you to believe? Is the threat to democracy as real as the protesters say? Let us know below in the comment section. Meanwhile, in New York, Bibi and Biden's meeting wasn't the only thing stirring up some buzz. During a UN World Summit, Israel's ambassador to the United Nations, Gilad Erdan, did this, and I have a lot of questions. The video shows Erdan waving a photo of Masa Amini, the Kurdish Iranian killed in the custody of Tehran's morality police last September. The stunt took place during an address by Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi, aka the Butcher of Tehran, with his title referring to his involvement in the mass execution of Iranian political prisoners in the 1980s. After causing a ruckus, Erdan was temporarily detained by UN security, with a video published by an Iranian news agency showing someone shouting, "Israel is a terrorist!" Which is grammatically a mess. It should be Israel are terrorists. Nope. Israel commits terror. Anyway, Erdan was later quoted saying, "It is a disgrace that ambassadors stay to listen to a mass murderer. I call on the international community to stop the madness and prevent murderers and anti-Semites from coming and speaking here at the UN." Here's the thing. What he's saying is valid and needs to be said, but I'm having trouble wrapping my head around the way it was done. It's giving me Alex Jones vibes. I'm really torn here because Erdan has a voice and a message and a platform, but I'm afraid the way he's going about sending that message is delegitimizing the message he's trying to send. These are important points to be making, but are they being overshadowed by the stunt itself? Honestly, I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna pass the question off to you. Do you think Erdan's message came across? Was he right to make a scene? What about the UN? Is it time to rethink its role and who's allowed in? Let us know below in the comment section. And finally, for those of you who tuned in last week, we discussed UPenn's Palestine Rights Literary Festival, an event that celebrates Palestinian art, culture, and literature, and drew a ton of attention for its speaker list, which included Pink Floyd co-founder and rock and roll legend Roger Waters, a known pro-Palestinian advocate and big fan of the Nazi uniform, Mark Lamont Hill, who was fired by CNN in 2018 for using the term "from the river to the sea," a call used by the Hamas terror group to advocate for Israel's destruction, and many more. The event took place over the weekend leading into Yom Kippur, the holiest day of the Jewish calendar, and as you can probably imagine, was met with a ton of backlash. People were protesting, writing open letters. There were even trucks outfitted with LED panels driving around campus condemning the event. This was only exacerbated by a violent anti-Semitic incident at the Hillel House on campus this past Thursday morning, where an unwelcome intruder forced his way inside the building and yelled anti-Semitic slurs and attempted to ransack the place. So yeah, tensions were high. Jewish students not thrilled. But what actually happened at the event? Luckily, we were able to get our hands on some students. Nope. Don't like the way that sounded. We were able to get a hold of students that were present at the event and get the inside scoop. According to our sources, the event itself was overall pretty benign in its outwardly anti-Semitic rhetoric. The festival had events that showcased Palestinian dancing, art, literature, and theater. Morris Hakim, a Jewish sophomore studying political science and Arabic at UPenn, said that the event was not anti-Semitic, but was very political. To say it was purely cultural would be a misrepresentation in my opinion. Morris attended several of the events and commented that while there was a fair amount of criticism of Israel, that didn't necessarily extend to outright Jewish hatred. Arguably, the most controversial guest panelist, Roger Waters, attended the festival via Zoom from the Philadelphia airport and addressed his long history of being labeled an anti-Semite. Waters teased the audience with the declaration, "I get to decide if I'm an anti-Semite or not," after which he followed up that he is adamantly not an anti-Semite. "I'm having trouble hearing you through that massive inflatable pig with a Jewish star you have on stage with you every night, Roger." Waters also kept referring to Israel as the enemy in his presentation, so I'm not sure that I'm convinced. Apparently he wanted to attend, but the university put their foot down and relegated him to a giant screen instead. This begs the question, why not just uninvite him? He's not even in Pink Floyd anymore. But the main question that I'm trying to get to the bottom of is just how harmful was this event? In the lead up to the festival, 2 anti-Semitic incidences were reported, but what about from the event itself? It seems that the rhetoric was much more focused on the Palestinian plight, which is inextricably linked to the Palestinian narrative, and Israel is at the top of the list of oppressors. On a surface level, this is criticism of the Israeli government and not necessarily a criticism of its inhabitants. As we have established on this channel before, it's okay to be critical of a government. We do it all the time. It becomes more problematic when that extends to the hate of an entire race or religion. And I'm not even saying that the festival was outwardly spewing hate, but the speakers that were invited certainly didn't help to curb that impression. In theory, this could have been an incredible opportunity to educate and bring people together and celebrate culture, but it missed the mark from the beginning and therefore made it almost impossible to have a real dialogue. I don't think that there's anything wrong with a university hosting an event celebrating Palestinian culture, but when you invite Roger Waters as your guest of honor, don't cry about the protest and loss of millions of dollars in donations from your patrons. So do I think this was the Third Reich Uprising festival that the media made it out to be? No. Do I think the situation was a complete overreaction from students and Jewish advocacy groups? Also, kind of no. I think this was a very complicated, nuanced situation that no one really had a firm grasp on, that touched on nerves that people didn't want touched. But this is just my opinion, and I want to hear yours. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss your weekly deep dive into Jewish and Israeli current events. And if you want to snag a t-shirt or hoodie, all you gotta do is click the link below. And while you're at it, maybe check out one of our other videos. They're right here. It's so easy.